la 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 la.
Southern Illinois is home for the best Christian music and the biggest variety. It's local Christian radio, 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine. Next thing you know, that is Matthew West. It's 9:04. It's the Vine Morning Show on a Wednesday morning. I'm Mark Wells. It's great to have you along this morning. You know, Operation Christmas Child is such a great program through Samaritan's Purse. And a lot of kids from all over the world have been shoebox recipients. And on the phone with me right now is Mariya. I'm going to attempt to pronounce your last name on the air. I know we were talking about this off the air, but this is Mariya Snizhko. Is that right, Mariya?
You are pretty close, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking some time this morning and joining me to tell us a little bit about your story. And it's great to have you with us this morning as we have a lot of people tuning in all over Southern Illinois. And Mariya, tell us a little bit about your story. You were born in the Urkraine, that correct?
That's correct. Yep. I was born in Ukraine, 1991. So some of you may remember that's the end of the Cold War and when the Soviet Union fell apart. So I was actually already born in the free Ukraine. So, but there was still a lot of unrest going on and economic reconstruction. So I grew up in a family where we had enough, finances to, my parents could provide food and clothing for us, but as far as anything outside of that, like Christmas gifts, that was just out of question.
Yeah.
So I pretty much grew up without ever receiving any Christmas gifts until I received the Operation Christmas Child shoebox.
Wow. Yeah. As you mentioned, the Soviet Union at that time, it left Ukraine in dire financial instability. And your parents worked very hard, but they never got paid for what they did, right?
Exactly, yes. There was a few years, a period of time where both of my parents, my mom was a nurse, my dad was an electrician, and same goes for other families in our area or throughout Ukraine. They would go to work, but they would not bring a paycheck home. And they had rations and coupons where they can go to a store and get a loaf of bread and whatnot. But my family, we had 6 kids at that time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes we had a neighbor buy bread for us. She's like, we asked her, she's like, why are you buying bread for us? She's like, I was just standing in line getting, she lived by herself. She's like, I just thought of you guys and bought you a loaf of bread. So wow. God was definitely providing for us.
Yeah, he sure did. And the thing was, back then, you guys lived in a one-room apartment with your family of 8, right? Now, how was that? I mean, that had to be tight quarters, but you were small at the time, so you really didn't realize it till you got a little older what your life was like when you lived in the Ukraine, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it was pretty much just one living room, and I don't remember exactly the size, but it wasn't that big. We were pretty tight and crowded, but my parents were wise, and they structured it and organized it pretty well. Our last year or two in Ukraine, before we came to the United States, we had a chance to live in a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment, so we definitely felt, very spacious, but when you're in such small quarters, just one living room, you really get close to your siblings and parents. You're tight-knit, there's really no other place to go besides maybe a kitchen or a bathroom.
Sure. Well, let's go back to the year 2002, Mariya. This was when your mother visited Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, and she volunteered at an Operation Christmas Child distribution center. And tell us a little bit about that night, because when she came home that night, she brought something home to you, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Yep, we were expecting Mom from Kiev because she went there for a hospital visit, and we just wanted to see her. We were kind of we grew up without expecting any gifts or anything, but we thought, well, maybe some candy or something. And so she brings the 3 shoe boxes. There was 6 of us kids back then. At that time, and we thought, maybe new shoes or something, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she told us the story of how she was at this distribution event at church, and there were these people that were telling the kids that gathered there about Jesus and, the story of his birth and life and death and stuff. And so we immediately recognized it because we went to church and Sunday school, and so we knew that story. And so I'm like, Mom, these people are Christians then. So that was really exciting. And she then handed over the gifts to us, and that our little space in the middle of the living room, we opened them up, all 6 of us, and made so much noise that our neighbors had to come down. And it was middle of the night pretty much. It was way past midnight. So we were kind of not observing the curfew at that night. So
yeah.
But it was really exciting to actually get the gifts and know that they're coming from people on the other side of the world who are also Christians just like we are.
Sure. And when you were young and you were persecuted for your faith, and tell us a little bit about that. That wasn't at that point in time when you were at that age. That's something that it hurt you, I'm sure, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. A lot of people right now, even my younger siblings and cousins, don't realize it, but when I went to school, I was constantly made fun of for being a Christian. Well, at that time, I didn't officially, become a Christian and accept Jesus Christ into my heart, but I went to church with my family, and I behaved differently because I was, raised in a Christian home. And so kids would I was the only Christian in my class, my entire class, so on the entire section of our school, and they called me mean names. And those, they're kids my own age. We were, 8, 9, 10, and they heard it from their parents. So just because Ukraine was free, it didn't mean that the religious persecution has stopped.
Sure.
The same ideas continued, and it just escalated. So I really had a hard time, but thankfully to my parents who instructed us and taught me that if you believe in Christ, you will be persecuted. And so I got to experience that from the young age.
Sure, yeah. And, and when your family received the shoebox, it not only strengthened your faith, and it put more trust in God, because it came at a great time for you when you least expected it. It filled you with hope and those items that you needed at the time. And it was just to be able to receive that, just had to put a smile on your face, and knowing that you not only are you loved by your family, but there are other people out there that love you for what they did.
Oh, absolutely. And it came in such a way that I would have never imagined, because back then in Ukraine we didn't have a variety of different art supplies, and I was a very creative child. So in in the shoe boxes, one of the things that I got to keep was a box of crayons. And we've never seen crayons up to that point, and we actually didn't know what to do with them. We had no idea what it was. So at first we were actually trying to eat it. Turns out they weren't as tasty as they looked.
Yeah.
So that's how we found out. Somebody made a mark on the coloring book that we also received in a shoebox, and it was like, wow, God, you're providing for me, and you're answering my questions and my prayers way beyond what I even imagined.
Wow.
How could I ask for a box of crayons when I didn't even know they existed? So
Sure.
it was a great testimony to me in my childhood and my walk with Christ. It's like God knows what you need and exactly when you need it.
Yeah, I'm sure your first, not knowing what a crayon was, I'm sure when you got that you thought, oh, candy. It came in a box. And, I can remember as a child thinking when I was younger, I wonder if this has flavor, and then biting into it. So you're not the only one. So,
yeah.
But that's a neat story, because I think we all, as children, we've all experienced that. But, all right, let's speed up a little bit, Mariya. Now, at the age of 12, your family moves to the U.S. What brought you to the U.S.?
We came here on the basis of, as refugees, on basis of religious persecution, and through a green card. My parents know more of the details of that.
Sure.
Our entire family moved.
Wow.
My parents and all my siblings, yep.
Now, after you were here for a while, about 3 years after you came to the United States, you had a youth leader that brought, go boxes to your youth group at church. And so at that point in time, you knew what those boxes were. And so tell us from what happened from that point on.
Exactly. Our youth leader brought the green and red go boxes to our youth service, and he was just telling about this ministry, and that was the box that I received. It was the go box, and I immediately recognized it and started nudging my mom. It's like, Mom, can you believe it? This is the same box. I know it's the same box. And so when he told us how the ministry works and how the shoe boxes go out, it's like, that is definitely it. So right away we started packing shoe boxes, and I think that first year we packed 6 because we couldn't decide who we wanted to, which ages we wanted to pick, and girl or a boy. So we just went shopping to a dollar store and filled it up. And ever since then, we've been packing them every year, and it's been, anywhere from 6 to 12 shoe boxes. And the girls tend to go shopping because we love to.
Sure.
And the boys pay the shipping fees.
Wow. What's so neat about this program, Mariya, and my wife and I are involved in it in our church, is that it gives you a time to bond with maybe a family member, a friend, your husband, your wife, but you're buying stuff, you're stocking up for this upcoming year's shoebox, and it's just a way to grow, and it gives you something to look forward to every year, and that's what you're doing. Even your family, your siblings and your mom and they're packing as well. They're doing this as well, and you're buying up until the time, and it's just an awesome ministry to be involved in. And like you said, you were a recipient of the shoebox, and now it's your turn to give back.
Yes, yeah. Well, and it's really fun. My youngest brother is 9 years old, so we always love to take him along with us. And I tell him my story. It's like when I was, about your age, I received a shoebox, and telling him, it's like, what would you like to receive, as a gift if you never had gifts? Because he grew up pretty privileged, anything he wants, whenever he wants, pretty much. And so it's really fun seeing his reactions, like, oh, some kids don't have toys, and they don't have coloring pencils and coloring books and toy cars and just, different things. So always a really fresh perspective from a child's point of view. It's like packing a shoebox for somebody on the other side of the world, maybe somebody my age. And we've always liked to pay the $7 online so that we can print our tracking number. That way we can see which country it goes to. So it's been really fun to track. I think last few years they've gone to Uganda and the Philippines and some other Asian countries that we've never even heard of, because Operation Christmas Child, they do go into countries small and big.
And the thing is, anything you put in the shoebox, like socks, T-shirts, underwear, pencils, the colored crayons, a protractor, calculator, it's something that you can use, and that you remember getting as you were a young child back then, and now you get a chance to pack all of these goodies in a box and send them off. But you're right, you can track these boxes now to different countries where they go, and this is a good way to kind of keep in touch, knowing where that box went to, right?
Exactly, yes. Another fun thing that we like to put on our shoebox is a family picture, and then also make sure to sign it, because in our shoeboxes we received a family picture, but there was no name or anything. I would love to, more than anything, to get in touch with those people and tell them exactly what, their gift meant to me. So if you can, put a letter or a picture, sign it, whatever. That's always just, an extra personal touch to the shoebox.
And that's so right. And once you do that, you can become a friend, you're like a pen pal. Like you can correspond back and forth. And have you through your packing of the shoe boxes, have you stayed in contact with a lot of people that you've sent a box to?
No, we have not had any responses from our shoe boxes yet.
Not yet. And there's still time to do that. Yeah. Now you're now in your parents. You guys live in what part of South Dakota again?
We live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so southeast.
Yeah. It's beautiful country up there. And now you're 24 years old, right? And go to college?